Hello?
You Rob?
Speaking.
Who's that first one?
Oh, hi. How you doing?
Good, you?
Yeah, Rose called me because apparently you're blaming her for the police coming to your farm.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is where everything in the shade things.
Well, when you were, what it was, when you...
It's not blaming Rob there. It's just when like I said to Rose, if you have an issue with me, you come and see me.
Yeah, well, the issue technically wasn't with you as a whole. It was with the whole situation at hand. But by allowing, like it's one thing to slaughter an animal if it's for food. Like you've apparently you used to work in a slaughterhouse in the info. I used to. Are you
Well,
only one?
I used to own the slaughter plant.
Yeah, so
big slaughter plant. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm not those kind of people that think that they know everything and frankly they know nothing.
Yeah.
Because to know something that goes on into a slaughter plant, you need to own the slaughter plant or work
yeah, I've got background info on all slaughterhouses. I've been in them. It's the fact that
Have you worked in a slaughter plant, Rob?
have I ever worked in a slaughter plant? No, I would never work in a slaughter plant. But but I've been in them. I've been on tours in them and everything else. Like I've been doing animal rights for many years. I'm like I've got a big background with animal rights, so I do all my research. What it was, Rose. Actually, when you were talking to Rose about what was about to happen at your farm there, I was in the middle of doing a text with, like we were texting back and forth about another matter that I was dealing with, and then she just happened to mention that she gave me your name and that she was upset that you were about to let a bunch of Muslims come on your property and do their ceremony.
That's my business.
Yeah,
That's my own regard there, Rob.
Yes, I understand that is. But it's the fact that, okay, like it's one thing when you're slaughtering an animal in a slaughterhouse. Okay, it goes under a certain bunch of regulations. You know, they get stunned or whatever happens to be the process for putting down them at that. It's not where, you know, you're at a barn and a bunch of people come over on your property and decide to kill animals because in their beliefs they think that this gets rid of all their sins. And that's just, it's totally...
You know, Rob.
You know,
I heard that speech. You know, if you're an animal activist and stuff like that, I heard that. I've been in the business for 20 years, raising animals and slaughtering and stuff like that. I know the story, Rob.
Yeah.
I respect your work, fine, no problem. You have to respect what people do too.
Yeah, I respect people.
Rob, what happens in your house, in your life, it's none of my fucking business, Rob. It's your life. You have to respect people's life. You can say things and say, well, I don't like this and I don't like that. That's one thing. But to call the police, whoever did call the police, I'm sure it's about Rose there, that initiate. I don't know if she did call.
No, I called the police. I called the police and I talked to a Constable Carrier, which is spelled C-A...
He came on my farm.
Oh yeah, he called me back to let me know that he was there, and then he told me that there was not much he could do because he's never dealt with this before.
There's nothing at all.
So I talked to a government official with the Canadian government from Ministry of Agriculture to ask because you know what, if one farmer is going around doing this, how many other farmers are going around doing this? And I did my
even there were some court cases that were dropped at the end because there's nothing that they can do.
Yeah, I know. There was a court case up in Ottawa about this.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of cases in Ottawa. There was about 2 or 3 cases different that people, for 20 years, they were inviting Muslims on their farm and for one day out of the year, to slaughter some lamb. That's it.
Yeah, but do you not realize just the process of how they slaughter them? You know, they come on there, they slit their throats and let them die that way. Like Rob, would you do this to your dog?
Rob, please. If you have been in a slaughter plant before,
yeah,
you would agree that slitting throats, the Jews does the same thing when they kill kosher.
Yeah, and kosher, don't even get me started on kosher.
The Jews know because you don't want to get the Jews into your feet. Because if you get the Jews into your feet, man, you're off the map.
I have friends that are Jews that are totally against the kosher thing.
So what? They've been killing for 2,000 years like that. 4,000 years, the Jews. So what's you're going to change the world tomorrow?
No,
but putting a bullet into a brain is better than to slit.
Actually, by putting a bullet into its brain, it kills it instantly by smashing the brain.
Not true, Rob.
If it's done properly, unfortunately, it's a sad process. But when you slit an animal's throat, it chokes to death on its own blood.
No, at all. See, you know what? You have to come and see what's happening. There's even vets that are more inclined to go and bleed an animal than to stun them.
To bleed an animal than to stun them. That's what a vet would suggest?
No, a vet, the way we kill a cow or a beef or a hog is electrocuted. And even when it's electrocuted, it's still alive, and they open it. That's even worse.
Oh, the whole process is really shameful.
The way they do the Muslims or the Jewish, okay? I was there. I used to kill kosher. I used to kill halal in my slaughter plant. And what they did on my farm, I was there to supervise.
Yeah, I know you were there. The police officer told me that you were right there.
I was there, and the way they did it was according to the way it's supposed to be done.
But
and you know what? For me, I prefer to bleed an animal than to fucking put a bullet into his brain, because if you put the bullet into the brain and you don't hit the right spot, you got to do it again. And while recharging and reload, you think it's going to suffer, it's even suffering more. So please be aware when you say about things.
Yeah, but
because a lot of people, they don't know what they're talking about.
Okay, now on that note there, why putting a bullet in its brain, wouldn't it be better to have somebody that knew what they were doing, that was that had experience in putting an animal down properly?
Don't you think those people didn't know?
Well, they were just slitting. All they were doing was slitting their throats, like.
This is what they do. The rabbi at my plant, they were doing the same thing.
Yeah, I know exactly what the rabbis do. They go and they got you, like for cows, they put them in a special machine. They slit their throat, and they're not even supposed to touch the ground.
No, they're touching the ground. The only thing they put is they stretch their neck and they cut it.
Yeah, but
then it goes down, and they open it, and that's it.
And then they go to the next animal.
We used to do that here in Quebec for hundreds of years.
Yeah, but we're trying to change the rules and that, and as we become a more civilized, humans.
At the end of the day, Rob, when you put down an animal, no matter what way you're doing it, you're putting down an animal.
Yeah, okay? But wouldn't you prefer an animal not to suffer before?
Go after all those hunters that they don't know how to shoot there.
We do that.
The animals. Well, no, but you know what? At the end of the day, if you want to spend a minute wisely. Don't go after people. You think they're, because Rosen is, they're going to slit their throat and they're putting all the body and the whole, and they don't even eat the meat. False. Completely wrong information. And this is what I don't like, is wrong information.
Okay. So explain.
What I like is people that, like I said to Rose, you come. I know she doesn't want to see that. Okay, but please, if you have an issue with me, you come and discuss with me, and we'll get that matter resolved. Don't try to spread the word around in the county of Glengarry that this is what I do.
But nobody's. I don't even live in Glengarry. I live in Montreal.
But what's your business for that then?
No, what my business is, because I fight for animal rights, and the fact that you are going to allow this on your farm, and because it's not legally, if it's not an actual legal slaughterhouse, there is laws against it, and
no.
Maybe they're in the middle of changing those laws, but
they're allowed.
Okay, so you've actually got certification that this can go on your farm. I know for a fact that farmers can slaughter their own animals, but to have people come in and slaughter the animals on their farm, unless it's a registered slaughterhouse, that's against the law right now.
No, it's not.
The Canadian I've already called the government on this, and they've already verified that.
Go on Google, Rob, and check all the cases that were into Ontario court in Ottawa.
Yeah, I know. But they're trying to bring in all the bullshit and laws because they're trying to use it as a religious right. So so say I want to blow up a building because Allah told me to do it. Does that make it okay? No, it doesn't.
There's a difference. People like what they did with the soldier. By the name of Allah, you can kill people. They're not killing people. They're putting down a lamb for a religious holiday, and this religious holiday is for their own belief.
Yeah,
they're not killing people. They're not killing people. They're killing an animal. People eat meat.
Yeah, but an animal and a person, what's the difference? We're all earthlings. Like, I don't think you get the connection.
Rob, we've been eating meat for the last millions of years.
Actually, we started out not eating meat. If you want to do your research.
Please. We eat chicken, we eat beef, we eat fish, we eat, If you eat only vegetables and you're a vegetarian, so be it. It's good for you. Me, I'm not. I like meat. So I was raised like that. My ancestors are from France, so be it. And your ancestors are probably from France with a French name. So we eat meat. I'm sorry, I like meat.
Yeah. Well,
so that's my own life.
Yeah, that's your own preference. It's the fact that until the actual regulations get right, like this stuff that you're talking about, yeah, it's still going through. There's actually still going through the courts where they're trying to fight for religious beliefs that they can do this.
They dropped everything. All the cases in Ottawa were dropped.
Oh, they were dropped. Okay, this must have been just recent then.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, everything was.
Okay, yeah. See, 2 weeks ago, I didn't have but that's because Ottawa doesn't want to try and take on the religious belief bullshit that goes along with it. I don't give a shit if a person's Muslim, Christian, Jewish. If you're going to slaughter an animal, as sickening as that is, then do it in the most humane and in an environment,
Rob,
but they.
I've been 20 years, Robin, to business. And
yeah, but
if I was able to find a humane way to kill an animal, I would be the first to do it. I have animals I have horses on my farm. I have sheep, I have lamb, and I have everything.
Yeah, like, is this something
for me, what I do is my own business. This is what I was saying to Rose. If you want to judge what I'm doing, please come and tell me, and keep it between me and you. You don't have to go and spread the word around. Why?
Well, actually,
because we live in a small community.
Actually, nobody spread the word around about it. Like I said, when I was talking to Rose through it.
Do you think that not having the cops at my place?
No, that's calling the police to try and stop it before it started.
Well, that's nobody's business.
But if you're slaughtering animals and it's against the law, then that's the public's business.
What public? That's all people's decision to come on the farm.
Yeah, because if a person tries,
they get a fresh lamb, and that's it. And they go home and they eat it, and they share with other poor people. And that's the truth. I know them. I know those people. Those people were ex-employees of mine. They're from Morocco. They're Muslim. They're Sunnite.
Yeah.
And I know. And the way they did it was clean. They eat everything. The waste that was in the hole there at the end of the day there was nothing.
Okay, so what was left in the hole that there? Was the heads, the guts, and all that?
No, they eat the head, they eat the tongue, they eat the cheeks, they eat the brain, they eat the testicles, they eat the lungs, the heart, and the intestine, they do the sausage, the merguez.
Jesus.
You know what? They take everything. Compared to a lot of French Canadian or English Canadian that they throw everything out in the garbage, they eat everything. So the waste, even Claude, Rose's boyfriend, he said, wow, there's nothing in the hole. There's nothing. The only thing was there, the skin. So please, at the end of the day, those people, they eat everything.
Okay, well,
they're shared with their family, they're shared with the poor people. I know it.
But wouldn't you? Okay, just from would you not prefer though for something like that? Would that not be better to take place in an actual processing plant though, or do you agree?
What is the difference, Rob? The way they kill the animal would be the same way.
But it be in a more clean environment and stuff like that, or do you prefer, or for just for your own personal opinion, do you prefer them to come to your place and do this once a year if that makes them happy?
Well, for me, it's having.
Or does it do you make more money for it?
It's not a question of money. It's a question that for me to go and stress the animal in transport, or stress the animal to go to the auction. You know what I mean? And after that, go back and transport. My animal, they were calm, and everything went easy. No pressure, no rushing. It was more humane to do it on my farm than to bring the animal and transport. The stress they get, the stress of the auction, the stress of going back to the slaughter plant, the smell of blood over there, and everything like that. Man, that's not humane. If you want to talk about humane, my place was more humane than to get into transport and get all that stress and all that shit, Rob. Just be aware of what's going on, and not just trying to think or imagine what might have gone wrong or what might have gone good. No, please come on my place and see what's happening. And after that, you can make your own judgment.
Okay, yeah, that's how many sheep that were killed that day?
Why you want to know that, Ron?
Oh, I'm just curious how many.
No, she knows. She knows everything because I told her.
Well, obviously, me and Rose didn't talk about how many sheep you lost, so all she simply told me was what was about to happen when we were texting back. Like I said, when you were talking.
There's not a lot of lambs, put it this way.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of places that I know that were killed a lot more.
Yeah, well, this is something that's ongoing around the whole area.
That amount of land there that was there, and there were about 20 families that came over. And yeah, of course, yeah, they like it because they know that I don't give antibiotics. There's no vaccine. There's no hormones. There's no nothing. It's a natural fed land, almost organic. You know, there's no pesticide on my land. And, you know, so you know, and it's a free range land, we call it.
A free range land.
Yeah, they were taking. When everybody was calm, they put it down. They say their prayer, and they do slit the throat. Or putting a bullet to their brain, was it better? I don't think so. So that's what happened that day.
Okay, but that's your opinion, though.
Go and call the police about that.
My reason, but like I said, my reason for calling the police, because before I called the police, when Rose first told me your name and what was about to happen, I looked up on the internet. I did some research before I called the police to see if it was legally allowed to do that, because you know. As an activist for animals, this is what we do. We try and we do our research first. And like you said, it was only 2 weeks ago that those cases got thrown out of court. When this took place on your farm, it was still in the courts. So in the eyes of me and all animal activists, number one, it's taboo, but to us, it was also illegal.
I can give you a subject of being an animal activist. You could go on. Like all those puppy mills. You should focus more on what's going on those puppy mills than people like me that once a year they kill them.
Well, as an animal activist, we as a whole, we focus on all the animals of the world.
But you should focus on other things than what I do.
Well, it's because of what you did. That's why my attention was focused on you. And like I said, I did some research first. I didn't just get your name, call the police. I got your name, I looked you up, I Googled you, I found your address, I looked at your property actually through Google Earth. I did everything like that. Like, I've got friends that look up people's names and do backgrounds and stuff like that. This is what we do as an activist and as investigators for animal rights and for animal atrocities. That's what we do every day. So I looked into it, and then I found that in Ontario, that there are at that time there was presently cases before the court in regards to animals being slaughtered on a person.